Mahalo and hello. Thank you for joining me today. How you guys doing? So this headline, this is like the ultimate clickbait headline to me. I cannot help but react to this. Watch as Germany's Merz says U.S. humiliated by Iran. Damn. Questions war strategy of the Trump administration. Which, I mean, this is true in many regards. I think this is extremely humiliating, and the longer it goes on, the more humiliating it is. The fact that Iran just has this stranglehold over, I mean, really the world economy, being the Strait of Hormuz and, you know, not allowing any traffic through there for the most part. The fact that we, as, you know, the superpower of the world, we can't do anything about it. We are unable to reopen that strait. And Trump can't decide whether it's because you guys and the rest of NATO won't help, or if he actually does need your help, and we're going to do it by ourselves, but we can't do it. Which certainly does all raise questions about the strategy. It actually does seem like the strategy, the war strategy, was basically extremely pompous arrogance of, yeah, we're the United States. We can do anything with no repercussions because we have the strongest military. And that strategy not working out great just yet. Not working out great. All because Europe appeased a bully instead of breaking his nose. I'm sorry. When I first started reading that, I thought this guy was going to blame Europe. Oh, because Europe wouldn't help, you know, in the war. No, because Europe appeased a bully. Well, I mean, actually, this does blame Europe in a different kind of way. I don't know why I'm reading a comment before even getting to this. I'm very excited to react to this. But now that I have read this, I will say, I don't know. Okay. It's weird to me to blame Europe for Trump, but okay. Let's go. This is by DRM News, guys. Link down below. Check him out. There he is. The 2-meter man. Merz. Tall guy. The kids love him, apparently. Look at this. I know a lot of you guys hate him. The kids love him. Look at them all with the EU flags waving. I must say, if Donald Trump walked through a crowd of kids, I don't think that would be his reception. I don't know, but... I'm going to need subtitles, guys. Kind of arrogant of me to assume otherwise. Well, I thought usually there's subtitles. Like subtitles built in.
Die Amerikaner haben offensichtlich keine
The Americans clearly have no strategy.
Oh, shit. I'm turning those off because we do have a translator. Oh, shit. No strategy. No strategy at all. Wow. All right. That's, I mean, hard to argue with that. If we have a strategy, I'm not sure what it is at this point. Truly, I'm not sure what it is. But holy shit, for him to just come out and say that like that, I think that might be the most blunt criticism he's said of Trump.
And the problem with conflicts like this is always that you don't just have to go in. You also have to get out again.
Yeah, you would think the United States of all countries would have learned that lesson. Truly, truly, you would have thought that. I guess the only other country that might know that better is Britain.
This is always that you don't just have to go in. You also have to get out again. We saw that all too painfully in Afghanistan for 20 years. We saw it in Iraq. So this whole affair is, as I said, ill-considered, to say the least. At the moment, I cannot see what strategic exit the Americans are now opting for, especially...
Wow. Damn. This is very damning. And true. You know, it's true. And, you know, whenever politicians, especially Trump here, speaks in America, you can tell it's always just this ingenuine propaganda BS. You know, he's just saying whatever. He's never saying the truth. He's just saying, like, what he thinks is best for his image or whatever. But here you can tell Merz is just, you know, he's being totally honest, sincere. He's just talking, you know, not sensational. Which just shows, I mean, it just shows me, you know, this is true, and this is how we're being perceived, and it's because it's true. How absolutely batshit crazy. We've got ourselves into a war that we can't get out of, and we have no idea what to do. That's the reality.
At the moment, I cannot see what strategic exit the Americans are now opting for, especially as the Iranians are obviously negotiating very skillfully, or rather, very skillfully not negotiating.
Interesting. Okay. Skillfully not negotiating. I am thinking that's just an interesting. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. Like the Iranians are skillfully negotiating. They're definitely. I think what Trump didn't account for is like, once you go in and you kill hundreds of, you know, their leaders, hundreds of little girls, destroy a ton of their infrastructure, and then you just say, it's kind of like, it's too late for negotiations, you know? You can't just do that and then be like, okay, now we're going to come to the negotiating table. They're like, you know, for better or worse, they're just like, no, fuck you. You're not just going to do that and then we're going to negotiate something that's good for you. I mean, this is kind of like obvious, you know, in hindsight, it's kind of like, of course that's not going to, you can't just bully people like that and expect it to work. And of course, I hate the Iranian regime, a bunch of idiot bastards killing their own people. Goes without saying. Sponsor a lot of terrorism around the world. Duh. But when we're just talking strategically, like, this didn't make any sense. And they hate us. You know, this just emboldens them more in their hatred toward the United States that they already had. And the last thing they want to do is, after you've just, you know, slapped them across the face, is just, they're not going to come groveling down on their knees. You know, a lot of them would rather die.
And letting the Americans travel to Islamabad only to leave again without any results. An entire nation is being humiliated. The Iranian leadership, particularly through these so-called revolutionary...
It is interesting. It's interesting to think into the future, you know, how will this, you know, how we will look back on this and it will be like, you know, like the Cuban Missile Crisis or something. You know, you look back on events and they're widely regarded, you know, that was a humiliation of the USSR. You know, that's what it seems like this is turning out to be like. This will be a major humiliation for the United States. Unless something happens and happens quick. Because the longer nothing happens, the more of a humiliation it is. Because we're obviously tail-spinning into a recession or depression the longer this happens. You can't just have an oil spike like that and sustain it for like forever and not have a recession.
Guards. We offered, as Europeans, and said that we were willing, after the end of negotiations, to help getting the Strait of Hormuz open again. We offered to send in mine seeker...
And all Trump has done with that offer is make fun of you, you know? And that was a sincere offer. Trump just plays, oh, you're offering to come help after we already win the war? You know, how stupid is that? And it's like, well, yeah. You know, it's better than nothing. Because you're going to get nothing. The way you're talking, the way you're acting, you're going to get nothing, like a child. So, be careful.
Boats from Germany to help free the passage from mines, as it has clearly been, at least partially, mined. We can help there, but first the negotiation.
What's interesting about the mines is that even if there are not mines, Iran just has to say that there are. And that's enough to close it. You know, that's how easy it is to close the Strait of Hormuz. Iran just has to say that there are mines. Doesn't matter if there even are. But, I mean, there are, but you know what I mean. Even if we clear them out, Iran can say, we put more.
Negotiations need to be completed. And at the moment, I do not see how this can be realized in the near future, because the Iranians are clearly stronger than one thought, and the Americans clearly don't seem to have a convincing negotiating strategy. I am sorry to have to say it, but at the moment, it is a pretty tricky situation. And it is costing us a lot of money.
I thought it was weird that they sent J.D. Vance over there to negotiate. You know, J.D. Vance famously didn't want to get into this war. Of course, now he has to, you know, pretend like he thinks it's a good idea. But we all know J.D. Vance thinks it's a horrible idea. He said that forever before this war, to go to war in Iran. So the Iranians know that. You know, you send this guy over who's negotiating from a position of weakness. You know, they know J.D. Vance wants out of this conflict no matter what. He's willing to make concessions. It's like a weird, I don't get it.
It is costing us a lot of tax money and taxing our economy. This conflict, war against Iran, is having a direct negative effect on our economy and needs to be ended as
especially countries that have a low oil output, you know, or export. You know, it's bad for everybody, but especially countries that rely on importing oil. It's a nightmare, which is a lot of Europe. You guys should be pissed. I'm sure you are. And on behalf of America, for what it's worth, on behalf of this dumbass administration, you know, I apologize. Not that, you know, it's, in no way is it my fault, honestly. But, yeah, I am, you know, here. So for what it's worth.
As soon as possible.
Und die Amerikaner offensichtlich auch in den Verhandlungen keine wirklich überzeugende Strategie haben. Bedauere das sagen zu müssen, aber es ist im Augenblick eine ziemlich...
What's being said, dude? Why did the freaking dude, did he go take a potty break? Where did the translator go?
Auch in den Verhandlungen keine wirklich überzeugende Strategie haben. Bedauere das sagen zu müssen, aber es ist im Augenblick eine ziemlich vertrackte Lage. Und das kostet uns sehr viel Geld. Es kostet uns sehr viel Steuergeld.
Okay, so this is just what he already said.
Und es kostet uns sehr viel Wirtschaftskraft. Dieser Konflikt, dieser Krieg gegen den Iran hat unmittelbare Auswirkungen auf unsere...
Now, luckily, of course, a lot of European countries have been transitioning to some amount of green energy. Of course, not fully sustainable. So, you know, this just all the more shows the importance of that.
Wirtschaftsleistung. So, und deswegen muss er so schnell wie möglich beendet werden. Prozesse, die immer sehr lange dauern. Zelensky hatte mal die Idee am 1.1.
Wow, that was brutal. That was a brutally honest, no thrill takedown of Trump. Without even, the brutal part is that he wasn't even trying to, you know, he was just talking. He's just stating it as fact. He's not trying to embellish anything. He's just saying, yeah, it seems like they have no idea what they're doing. This guy is the most hypocrite president ever. See, I mean, I know that that Merz is not liked, you know. But Merz, you may not like Merz, but compared to Trump, he is not the most hypocrite president ever. Of course, Merz is not a president. He's chancellor, but, you know. Unless this guy's talking about the U.S. president. All right, whatever. The evil paper tiger has defeated. Sehr gut. Sehr gut. God, man. The real problem is that the Western world keeps quiet even when children are killed daily in Gaza, Lebanon, and other places that are not part of the Western world. Yeah, it's definitely high time that we start acting like the people in Eastern and Mideastern countries are just as valuable as the people in Western countries, because if this was happening in Western countries, it would not be tolerated. Now, of course, it's a little bit different because, you know, part of that reason is because it's not happening. The fact that it's not happening in our locations in the Western world, the violence is not happening in the Western world. You know, that's a fundamentally different scenario than if it was. You know, of course, the people where the violence is happening are going to be the people who are, you know, most incentivized to stop it and care. But it is sad that it's that way. Truth is bitter. The Germans said it right. Yeah. Yep. Brutal. Very German. Very Germanesque, right? To just be that straightforward, brutally honest. And that is what we need right now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.